All right. I think we've started early here. This is just fine. Welcome to Tuesdays with Peter. and that would be me. So delighted to be here. We are exploring life. And so this is an open forum for people to come into. We can talk about different aspects of life. What does life mean to you? Are you living what I consider your most congruent life that your creator created you to live? Or are you living somebody else's life? So I can and have talked about this for hours on end as far as supporting individuals that want to know the answers to who am I? Want to know the answers to what's my life purpose? Why am I alive? What am I here to contribute? All of those kinds of things. And it could be the practicality of am I congruently living that? Am I aligned with that? So I invite you today to join in or listen in if you're listening to a recording. And know that I'm here to hopefully inspire you. In some cases, maybe instruct you in terms of how to find that core self, core selfie, as we have here. And just, whoop, there it goes, right there. If you haven't done some of the exercises on there, I encourage you to go back and do those, especially exercise 1 or process number 1 in terms of the self-discovery process is probably the most juiciest. My guess is it'll be the most valuable 10 minutes that you spend this year, or maybe in your life even. It has changed people's lives quite literally. It has articulated who they are at a core of their being. The following exercises on that website they're all free, by the way. You can download them for free. Is practices, assessments, all self-administered. You can do it on your own. And the website will also indicate or give you links to the YouTube that I've done earlier. And so you're welcome to go back through those, listen to those. And today is an open forum. What does life mean to you? How are you treating life? I said in the first session here, Tuesdays with Peter, that I used to ask the question, so how's life treating you? Well, by asking that question, it's like I'm the victim of life around me. You know, it's bombarding me. I don't have a choice. I'm acting or reacting to the people, events, things that are going on around me, as opposed to how are you treating life? Much better question. How are you treating life? It's like, oh, I'm a choice. Yeah, you are. You are a choice. So I welcome the questions. I welcome you in today's session, and I'm excited to find out what's on your mind. How are you treating life? Let's start with that one. And there's some people that are here with me live in the Zoom room, so I can interact with you real time. And for those of you that are receiving the streaming through YouTube, we are monitoring that through the chat or comments that you have. And I've got a mechanism here. I've got actually an awesome human being here that's going to take that and put it into my inner room chat box. So there we go. All right. So welcome. Who would like to share? How are you treating life? What do you think life is? So I've got Rajiv, and I've got Sanjeev, and I've got Vivek, I've got Arshna, my Indian my constituencies. Love seeing all of you. And congratulations for catching the USA daylight savings times today. So welcome. Comments on life. Comments on how to bring your sense of positivity to life. Sense of I'm in control of my life. I have a choice. And as you're forming a question, I'm going to just say to the rest of the people that are listening in on this, I believe deeply that you, each of you, every single human being, all 7.5 billion of my brothers and sisters, are uniquely created. If you are not being your unique, awesome, amazing, created self, then someone else out there in the world is missing out on the real you. But I, again, refer to as a core self you. And that's within you. It can't be beaten out of you. It can't be conditioned out of you. Now, it can be overlaid in the sense of I can be living life according to what I think others want from me or have told me that they expect from me. But that core self is still within you. 100% guaranteed. It's in there today. It was there at birth. It will be there until you die. Those are my beliefs. And the question then becomes, to what degree are each of us congruent with that, aligned with that, making decisions from that place, as opposed to the conditioned place that we're told who we're supposed to be, how we're supposed to show up. I was listening to a conversation this week. I think it might have been on a YouTube post or a LinkedIn post, and it was a short video on young woman talking about the things that the conditioning that they were brought up with. You know, what you can do as a woman, what you can't do as a woman, how you're supposed to behave, how you're supposed to show up, the things you're not allowed to do in business or in social settings. And as the woman was talking, it was like there's a shrinking, there was an acquiescing, and I just broke my heart. And so I'm here to support you and inspire you to know, regardless of your conditioning or programming or socializing that's taken place for a lifetime up until however old you are right now, that true self, that true core self is still within you. And it's just aching to get out. It's aching to be expressed, to be nurtured, celebrated. How's that a shift of consciousness? Yeah. All right. So I'm not seeing any questions in the chat box. Anybody want to unmute yourself and ask a question or comment on what is it like to live your core self? I think most of you have been my students in coaching, coach training. Maybe we could explore, before coaching, after coaching. How you doing? Who'd like to share? Rajiv?
Peter, Rajiv here.
Yeah.
I have a question. I've missed your last session, but I did watch your recording. And one question which constantly came to me was, what is life itself? When we are talking about life, what is the definition of life? What are we, there's birth, there is death, and then in between.
Right.
So
the dash.
Yeah.
Born this date, dash this date. And it's a dash that we're in right now, isn't it? Hopefully for a long time. Yeah. What's your definition of that? Or what's your feel for what is life? What's life for? why bother? Why am I here? Do you have a sense of
Well,
that for yourself?
well, my understanding is most of the time when we talk about life, we often refer the life situations rather than the life, the living being that we are. So yeah, I'm no. Of course, it's too much a deep topic for me to articulate it so well.
You're doing
You may be
great.
able to do, but then
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So
Hmm.
so yeah. So we are in the quest of becoming something all the time, and then we refer that as our life, and that is what we refer to as how life is treating us,
Yeah, true.
all of that.
Yeah,
So and then we are trying to address. So one question which I couldn't ask in last few sessions to you was, then what is the relationship between becoming and being?
hmm,
So and that being is something which I feel what we refer to as life,
hmm.
and becoming is something that we refer to as life, dealing with the life situations. uh, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you have a very interesting perspective here, and I agree with everything that you said. Basically, the way that I look at it is, if I'm aware and conscious of who I am, then I have an opportunity to transcend the circumstances of life, the stages of life, the things that I'm doing in life. And when I can transcend the doingness of life, or going for the goals and aspirations that are earthly bound, if you will, right? So I'm working hard so I can save up enough money to buy a house that's comfortable and safe for my family, right? Nothing wrong with that. But that's the doingness of life. The deeper question in terms of what life is all about is, I think, being here for me is to contribute what I'm here to contribute from my core, from my who God created me, right? My creator created me. And when I can do that, then I can be earning a living. I can be having a relationship with my spouse or my wife or my husband, in whatever case that might be for you. I can have a relationship with my siblings or my parents. So there's circumstances, there's events that are typically talked about. Life for me is deeper than that. Life is, am I fulfilling my life's purpose? And I believe my life purpose is endowed into me, into my being, again, at birth or maybe before birth, by my creator. And I believe every human being has a purpose to contribute something of value, life affirming, making the world a better place. And my question then becomes, whose purpose am I living? I'm always on purpose, by the way. The first 37 years, I was on a purpose for my company. I didn't have a life. I'm a worker bee. I'm a management bee. I'm an executive bee. that's who I'm here. Since 37 and onward, it's been more of, okay, so why is Peter Redding here? Who's this guy? Why was he created? Why is he on the planet in 2021? I think it's to do exactly what I'm doing right now, by the way. It's like I've reshifted my life back to not doing things because other people want me to do them, but doing what I'm here and meant to be doing. So the word life has a very different meaning for me now than it did at 37 or 47 or 57 or 27. And it's much more meaningful. It is not just for one activity or one stage of life. It is for wherever I go, there I am type of thing. Wherever I go, I can be express my fullness as core self. And that exudes out of me. I can't help but can't keep it contained anymore. Before it was buried under a whole bunch of conditioning of, yeah, you go to business school, then you become a businessman, and then you go up through the ranks of business, because my dad was a businessman, right? So that was my modeling for the first 20 years of my life in education. And then for the next almost 20 years, I became really good at that. Got compensated handsomely for that. But in the meantime, I didn't have a life, as we're talking about now. Honestly, somebody, I said, well, what do you do when you're not working? I said, what do you mean when I'm not working? I'm always working. That's what I'm doing. That's my life. I also think from a philosophical or maybe more spiritual perspective that life is about, I heard the expression early on in my life that you're here to learn your life lessons. To learn your life lessons is the way it was articulated to me. Well, I didn't know what that was. I thought life lessons was, how do I understand accounting better, or finances better, or balance sheets, or cash flows. I mean, that was what I was supposed to learn at business school. But life lessons, what about life lessons? And if you believe in my understanding of karma or past life regression and coming back into, reincarnation, that there are things that I didn't learn the last time I was here. You don't have to believe that or not, but I believe that there are life lessons that as a human being, that I'm here to learn. I'm here in this lifetime. For me, it's about intimacy. For the first, again, 30, 40 years, I did not understand intimacy at all. I didn't pursue it. I didn't concentrate on it. I just thought there was a missing link in my either upbringing or my DNA, or, God forgot to put that piece of, into Peter, And so that's been an area of high interest for me for the last, almost the last 30 years. What is intimacy with myself? What is intimacy with another human being? The rawness of that, the vulnerability in that, the deep, incredibly deep connection and compassion and love that comes from that place. So these are the deeper things that I think that I'm here in life. And so some of those I've learned a great deal about, and I'm sure there's other life lessons that I've just continued to ignore and are still blind to me. But I think life is more than earning a paycheck. I think it's more than being a good provider for the family. It goes much deeper for me. And so am I focusing on those kinds of things? And you don't have to wait until you're 50 years old to do this, by the way. So for those of you that might be listening to this that are 18 or 28, and I've had students that are 18 or 28, in their early 20s, early part of life, that have unbelievable consciousness around who they are. And all of these things would not be foreign to them. It was for me at 20 or 30, but I see a new generation coming up with a much more consciousness around these things, and start working on that then. Am I aligning my decisions, my future plans according to that? My real life, if you will, my true life, my core self life? Or am I still trying to dance the tune of my teachers, my parents, my culture, my gender? So that's a long-winded answer, I think, Rajiv, to the question of life, and goes into, I think, a lot deeper things than just, yeah, I'm here to earn money. I'm here to, be better than my teammates or classmates. That's all superficial stuff to me at this stage. Yeah. I see several other people have come in. We're talking about what's life. How do you define life? Life, the word life. Has that changed over the course of your lifetime of what life is all about? What's it all about, Alfie? I hope YouTube doesn't. With the way I sang that, I don't think they're not gonna ban me for plagiarism or copyright. So, what's life? What are some of the other thoughts that you have? I see Naomi has joined me. I see Soraya has
Peter,
joined. Yeah.
I had a thought when you talked about a few minutes ago, like, what did this work bring me, right? And life. And for me, one of the amazing doors that finally swung wide open was that feeling of worthiness, right? So worthiness and a release of comparison. From the first moment in training, I remember, first of all, this amazing emotional release. I think you have a lot of cry and maybe sob sometimes, like when you do this work, this self-discovery work. And then it grew that first year. Like there was this sort of knowing, I know I'm worthy. And then the actual like, wow, it inhabits me, because understanding myself, right? My core values, my natural gifts and talents, my life purpose, allowed me for the very first time, first of all, to answer those questions. Who am I and why am I here? Because I used to always be like, wow, everybody knows but me. Like everybody seems to know this and I don't get it. But the comparison could stop, because I would hear myself saying to others and clients, knowing this, doesn't it remove the angst, right, of that boss that you're doing this? Because I always assumed that my core values were their core values. They are the core values, and kind of getting, oh, they have very different core values and we are not in alignment, the two of us. So now I move forward, not because you don't like me, because I get it. It's hard, but I'm not mad about it anymore, right? It was like, wow.
Yeah. Well, you bring up some great points, Naomi. Is huge difference for me in terms of self-worth and net worth. Net worth is a monetary thing for me. I was doing really great at that. 95% of my efforts for the first 37 years of my life was based on increasing net worth. Then I discovered self-worth, because it was at a dismal 1%, one figure percentage in my life at 37. And now that's shifted. And the paradoxical thing there is my self-worth has increased, that I am a valuable human being. I am a part of a network of human beings that I add to the planet's well-being and self-worth. I do. I know that now. And the paradoxical thing is my net worth is also increased. Hip, hip, hooray. And the other aspect that you talked about is the idea of, do I belong? Am I congruent or connected with you, fellow human being? Or are you just on a different path that I am, and I can honor that path? But you and I probably aren't going to end up being friends or buddies or mates or, social media buddies. It just, you have a different life. You have a different set of values. Even if it's their core values, they can still be different values than mine. In fact, they will be, because I'm a unique human being. The process that you talk about that you did in coaching training and that we now have available in a shorter version on CoreSELFtech.com, that's been done, I'm estimating millions of times now, between myself and my students that have brought it out to their groups, their companies, their clients. There's never been two alike. because we are a unique human being. That's what it's one of the huge values of that. I'm not trying to put you into a category of, okay, so there's 12 categories of human beings. You're in category 3. You're in category 4. It's a category of 1 over 7.5 billion. You're a unique human being. You are going to touch people in ways that nobody else can. Sometimes because of proximity, sometimes because of who you are, sometimes just you may smile at somebody that you don't even know at the shopping market, and it lightens their load. And you're the only one that could have done that day. So it's a tall order. And there's been many famous people that have had great quotes, and you know how I love quotes, is that the hardest thing you'll ever do in your life is to be true to yourself. And again, it's not a new concept. It's been around for millennia. And yet it continues to be a hard thing for an individual to be true to themselves. And when that starts happening, then that's that idea of I don't have to apologize for who I am. I don't have to take it in terms of being belittled or voice not heard or not seen. Classic cases around the world, not just for women, but for men and women. Human beings that are marginalized because of blank. When I got to know who I was, I could stand up. And if somebody said, Peter, you're this, and I knew that I wasn't that, I didn't have to feel bad about it anymore. I just said, well, obviously you're misinformed. Obviously you have a bias about blank. But that frankly doesn't apply to me. And I can hold my head up straight and tall, and I'm a stronger human being, mentally, spiritually, physically, because I don't take the body blows or the mental blows from somebody else that says, Peter, you're not doing it right. Well, thank you. And pretty sure I am. Who else? Life. It's a big topic.
Peter, this is Jim Parker.
Jim, how are you? Been ages, man.
It's been a long time since I've been in your presence.
Wow.
And I've always appreciated the work you were doing.
Thank you.
And I'm really blown away by what you're doing right here, right now. I have spent 30 some years trying to figure out my core self, right?
Yeah.
And when I really discovered it and lived from it, I'm surprised how many people it pisses off.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, expect that.
And some of them, I mean, I've got a beautiful daughter who thinks her dad's over the edge. And part of me wants to convince her otherwise. And part of me now is just saying, oh, that's sweet. Thank you, honey. I'm glad you're acknowledging I've changed.
Daddy's been working on this a long time.
Yeah. And it brings up the question for me, when you really discover your core, is I don't know how hard I want to work.
Yeah.
Right. And
Yep.
and I know coaching, I've been coaching for a long time, master certified.
Yep.
And I know it's a passion. But when it moves into the area of, no, wait a minute, this is kind of work. I start wondering, well, wait a minute, maybe I should, and that's where the end of the question is. Maybe I should.
Right. Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'm at. So I'm really curious. I didn't make the first call you did.
That's okay.
And but I see you recorded it, so I can look at it. And this one I was on the LinkedIn, but I'd prefer to be able to interact, so I switched over to Zoom.
Super, super. Glad you're here.
Yeah, I'm really glad to be here, and I'm really glad you're doing this. And I'm thinking I'll get some answers on this.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
I'll get at least I'll share my perspective, and that's kind of the forum here in terms of, my experience, or, and again, I'm not acting here as a coach and not giving advice. I will give advice, or at least hints of, again, perspectives that I come up with similar kinds of questions. And that one is squarely in my wheelhouse. The concept of work for me, I'm 73 years old. A lot of my classmates in high school and university have retired or died or really, really sick, right?
Yeah.
So I went to Spirit back, I don't know, about 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and I said, okay, so what do I do with this coach training business? A lot of my colleagues in this field are looking at, do we give it away? Do we sell it? Do we close it down? What do we do with our work? My spirit said, okay, Peter, it's time to expand. All right. And that's what we've done. So, and it's no longer work. It hasn't been for 25 years. Yes, it's my work to do. And it's one of my favorite questions now.
Mm-hmm.
But it's my life's work. It's not somebody else's, Peter, you have to do this work. So 2 questions that I've asked around work that comes to me in whatever fashion, volunteer work or compensated work or organized work or this, that, or other kind of work. Number 1, is it my work to do? Is it absolutely congruent with my life's purpose, my life's work, why I'm here, what I'm here to contribute? The answer is no, then I don't accept it. Okay, that's that. It sounds like very worthwhile work, but that's not my work to do. Because if I'm busy doing work that I'm not here to do, then I'm not doing my work.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one aspect. The second aspect is the person that's asking me for that, are they prepared to receive my best work or not?
Mm-hmm.
And so I have also turned down work that came to me and they said, yeah, we love who you are. We love your message. We love how you go about doing it. But we'd like to have it packaged this way and in this format and in this kind of a time frame. And it was clear to me that what they were asking, I'll get this isn't what they asked me, but this is kind of like what they were asking me. We want you to transform our employees, and we got 3 hours to do that on a Thursday afternoon about a month from now. I said, oh, wow, that's spectacular. I'm glad that you're thinking about your employees, but I'm not the right person to deliver that because they weren't ready for my depth of work. Maybe somebody else's. They can come in and give them a 3-point plan. Okay, so here's how you straighten out your life in 3 hours. Go forth and do that. But that's not my work to do. So I like that piece of it. And then the aspect of, my current quandary, and you'll hear it in my last thing from last week, is one of the things I'm working through is how much is enough? How much is enough work? How much is enough time to focus on hobbies? How much is enough money to have in the bank for reserves? How much is enough food to eat? How much is enough time to be open to do the kind of work that I'm doing right now? And so that's one I'm still pondering. I'm not quite sure. I'm getting closer to an answer on that one, but I think the question is how much enough is enough. And the only quote I've heard in this one is you won't know how much is enough until you have too much. It becomes a weight as opposed to a buoyant helper. So that's the only insight or hint that I've gotten from the ethers. So I keep working as much as I do, and I probably work on in a given week. Typically is at least 20, 25 hours at various times. The last 3 weeks, it's been about 18 hours a day, completely revamping our coach training and so many different ways. I can't even start to describe it. But that's unusual. That's unusual. So, and age, frankly, I've thrown that one out the window. It's like, I don't care how old I am. If I've got the energy and the compassion and I've got the brain power to do my work, I'll continue doing it until I'm 111.
Yeah.
And then maybe I'll retire then.
I'm also 73, and I think it rocks. I think the older you get, the easier it gets to be yourself.
I agree. I agree.
And I also am really glad you're doing this, because we're all going to benefit. And,
Thank you.
I'm glad it came through your spirit and you're sharing it with ours.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. It's great reconnecting, Jim.
It's good to see you.
Yeah, the first thing you said is that, it pisses off a lot of people when I start changing. Yeah, oh, yeah. Because, they have molded me to be a worker bee. They've molded me to not ask questions that might embarrass them. They've trained, not just me, but the whole world gets conditioned, whether you like it or not. The work, I think, in lifetime is, how do I unpack that? How do I unlearn what I've been conditioned to know, especially about myself and my capabilities? I mean, I've heard thousands of stories now through coaching and listening to coaching sessions of, my mom and dad said, don't, you can be this in your profession or you can be this, but don't look at anything else, because we can be proud of you if you're this. Maybe not so proud if you're this other thing. Or, all just too many programmings to go into with women, as far as, you're here to make babies and get a rich husband, and then you don't need to be educated. It's like, what decade are we living in here? What century are we living in here? So I am a passionate advocate for be yourself. If you're gay, be gay. If you're Indian, be Indian. If you're an American, be an American. But be your awesome, brilliant, amazing self, and be proud of it, develop it, contribute that, be a voice for that. Stand up with the loudest megaphone you've got and say, I am perfectly okay right now the way I am. I don't have to conform to what you want from me. And that takes guts. This is a courageous journey that we're talking about here. At 35, was not ready to do that. Well, first of all, I didn't even know to do that. I was so unconscious. And then when I started getting conscious, like, whew, really? I have to stand up and say this and claim this about myself. Ooh, geez, what will my parents say? What will my colleagues say? What will my siblings say? I didn't have any kids, so they couldn't blame me or, chastise me. But if I had kids, then they're going to also pipe in with, the hell are you doing, Dad? Didn't have to deal with that one in this lifetime. But this is a courageous journey, and it's so worthwhile. I mean, that's the other half of this story. Yes, it's courageous. Yes, it takes guts. Yes, it takes tenacity. And taking the backlash of the people that have spent so many years or decades of conditioning me to be a certain way, and it's going to wrinkle some brows, and that's okay. What else? What else is going through people's minds today in terms of life?
Hi, Peter. It'd be rude of me not to speak. How are you?
Oh, yay. How are you?
I've been following you, and I want to let you know that I've lived my life backwards, and you've inspired me to really become the coach that I see myself as.
Okay.
And I'm going to be 50 this year, and I just started working, unlike you. So I'm a Caribbean girl, and I grew up just really, yeah, I think I was always happy. So that helps. And, you know, listening to you, I've heard you on several occasions on Facebook, and what you encouraged me to do, I'm gonna say it here, is I'm now working with, I thought I needed to be like one of those, you know, Tony Robbins, blah, blah, blah coach.
Yeah.
And I sat down for 2 months, sorry. And I thought, no, that's not what I need. And I started working with a monk.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm now seeing myself as, I can't help everybody. So I don't want to be a transformational coach, but I definitely want to become I know I'm on my way to becoming a good spiritual guide, working with people who are now understanding, like you said, what it means to be a global citizen. You know, we're not confined anymore. We're not confined to living in the same house, same country, all those things that our grandparents and even our parents have been doing for years. So I've lived in 12 countries, traveled over 60, and now I'm in Mexico. So it's, if I can do it, so can they, right?
Yeah.
But what I'm always encouraging you, and I'd really want you to check out Wisdom. It's a new app, and it would give you the platform that you so deserve, Peter, because it's just going to be you speaking, and you can take this whole platform there, call it Peter Knows, Core Self Peter. And what happens is you have an audience of people waiting to speak. You could invite them if you wish, or if you don't wish, or you can also collaborate with someone who's going to come up and be your guest speaker, and you talk about yourself. Because I've just finished the ICA, and it wasn't cheap. I got a COVID discount, and it was still like 10 grand, I think, or something like that.
Yeah,
just a little under 10 grand. And what you've actually gave away within the last couple of months, I gotta tell you, was worth much more than that. So that's something for you to look into. Thank you. I see you being very genuine. I'm sure you'd know some of the trainers that I've trained with, all master coaches, and some are not. But it was just the way, the genuine way was in there. And as a new coach, I think it's so important to listen to people like you. And I'm so glad I'm now meeting Jim Parker. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that. And at 50, I'm looking forward to going into my coaching. So thank you for encouraging me.
Yeah, you're very welcome. And stop bragging that you're so young.
Yeah, right. I never thought I'd be like 50. Come on. 50, man. Jeez.
Well,
but anyway,
I'll check out.
I have no kids. I don't even have a pet. So maybe, maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
You are built for traveling then. Yes, there's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. Well, thank you for all of that. Thank you for the beautiful acknowledgements. And I'll check out Wisdom, see what that's all about. Because I do want to get onto bigger platforms and more people. And my goal is to reach the first billion people by 2025 to support them to know who they really are. And they can do that in 10 minutes on their own through CoreSELFtech, as we've talked about many times in the previous sessions. So yeah, and good luck. Good luck on coaching. Good luck on spiritual teacher. I love the fact that you have a monk that's supporting you and you're working with. I personally think monks, classic monk that is in the hills of Himalaya, that process all the negativity of the planet and then somehow dissipate it and send back love out to the planet. I think that they've saved the planet. That's my personal belief. You don't have to believe that, everybody, but I think I owe my physical life and being able to sustain it on this planet because of the monks' work that they've been doing for centuries. Otherwise, yeah, I won't go into the rest of that. But you talk about somebody that is on purpose. There's no, I don't think there's a better example of it than on the planet than people that are monks or people that are acting as a monk in other capacities around the world. Yeah. All right. What time we got? We got about 15 minutes. If anybody else has anything they want to talk about, explore, go deeper, got triggered by in terms of somebody else's share.
Peter, I would like to ask a question,
Sure.
and I'm just, this is probably, if I have a major irritation right now, it's this. It's the number of coaches that are trying to teach other coaches how to charge tons of money.
Yeah.
For their coaching.
Yeah.
And I at some point probably had 6 to 10 emails in my inbox saying they can get me to be a millionaire coaching. And I really never started being a coach for that.
Right.
My beginning in coaching was I knew I needed to do something that forced me to grow. Because on my own, I might not have done it, but by being trained as a coach and working as a coach, I never thought of it as I'm going to make $1 million doing this.
Yeah.
And there's a part of me that is not happy with it. I don't really know too much what to do other than delete the emails. But I'm asking you the question because am I the only one that thinks that's outrageous?
No, there's major concern. I'm highly plugged into the International Coaching Federation at multiple levels as a volunteer. I'm a member. I've been a member for I think 26 years now.
Yeah, me too.
So two things. Number one is the one thing that I like to celebrate is there's so many people that are talking about coaching or claiming to be a coach. And it's frankly because of us early pioneers to make coaching so incredibly valuable and worthwhile as a human development tool. And so hip, hip hooray for all of us that have gotten it to the point that it's chic. Yeah, I'm a growth coach. I'm a this coach. I'm a that coach. When they haven't had a day of coach training in their life, and they don't understand the ethics of coaching, what a professional coach is all about. The part that pains me is the idea of, yeah, come be a coach and get rich. That's never appealed to me. And I just read a long article about a woman out of Texas that charges $10,000-15,000, mostly to middle-aged women that are wanting to repurpose their life midterm. And it's a marketing thing. It's more than it is a compassionate, let's support the planet to be, develop better human beings. So there's a lot of that's going on, and it's going on worldwide, by the way, not just here in the US. It's happening in India. It's happening in Europe. It's happening in Africa. It's happening in China. And I've got connections to all of those places within the professional coaching ranks. So I think what you're going to see is a shaking out of quality coaches versus self-named coaches. And it's going to be harder. It's going to be, first of all, I think those of us that are trained and professional and hold it dearly and sacredly, we need to be a voice for that. Again, in 25 years ago, the delineation was, I don't give advice. And we had a lot of people in the early coaching that says, no, you have to give advice because people expect to get advice. And if you don't get advice, then you won't get paid. All right. That was widely held belief in the early days, mid 90s. We've gotten over a lot of that, but I think we still have to put a stake in the ground and say, here's what a professional coach is all about. We're a sacred space for people to come into, to talk, figure things out on their own. commit to things on their own, follow through on things on their own. And I can partner with them to ask them more provocative questions and start talking about the ethical things of, and if they can't take self-responsibility, then they may not be a candidate for professional coaching. They may need a different type of support. All of those kinds of things that would go into educating the population of the world and those that are looking for coaching. And that continues. Every one of us that are a professional has probably had that conversation 100 times a year with individuals or corporations or organizations or school systems that are looking at bringing in coaches. So yeah. Keep up the good work. The quality coaches are recognized. Those and the people that are buying coaching are getting more sophisticated, more savvy about, can you tell me where your training is from? Are you credentialed through the International Coaching Federation? At what level? I mean, the organizations now know the difference between ACC, PCC, and MCC. That was never the case 20 years ago. That was, still alphabet soup for most people. But people that are in HR positions, learning and development positions, CEOs, thousands that I've talked to or trained, understand that now. And so when they send in an RFP, they're saying, don't apply unless you have a PCC from the International Coaching Federation, period. Because a non-professional coach can come up and really screw up the concept of coaching in an organization pretty quickly. And it's the residual impact that I've seen is 5 to 10 years for that to be eradicated, and a new regime comes in and say, yeah, we're doing professional coaching now. Not what we had before, where people would, violate confidentiality or the such. And it's a continuing battle. It's a continuing. So I think the ICF is very familiar with all of this. There's going to be more rigor in training. There's going to be more rigor in credentialing. And I say hip, hip, hooray to that. But I feel your pain. Okay.
Peter, this is Sanjeev here.
Hey, Sanjeev. Good to hear
Good
your
to
voice.
see you. There's been a gap of about 2 to 3 weeks, 2 weeks, I think, yes, for me, because maybe I got stuck in my life. I thought I'll be the one who'll be sailing through, been enjoying the coaching, no doubt. It's something like I have getting there from the time I got the coaching, and what I'm doing now is most probably I've touched my sweet spot of the life, looks like. So I get the extra energy, no doubt. But it was very surprising to me that why I got stuck for about a month just to give ACC exam. It was quite a surprise to me, because everything went smoothly, submitted everything. When the exam came, I said, no, let me be more prepared. I kept on reading a lot of things and still not be knowing what is going to be asked and preparing myself. I delayed it by 1 month, and I was surprised that if I'm enjoying so much, how should I be stopping myself? And then, of course, I gave yesterday, spent the whole day, about 4 hours to give exams. And I qualified, no doubt, because of being the God student. So I give credit to you. Yeah.
Good for you. Good
So,
for you.
of course, the credentials will come. But I was just wondering that, sometimes, and I was just reflecting on this aspect, that, everything is aligned in the life. And when I said sweet spot means, yes, I love it. I love it because I see the surprises, what the coaching brings in the lives of people, how they open up, they do multiples of what they've been doing, and they feel the value because I've seen what the changes are coming in their life.
Yeah.
But as a coach, when it comes to me, why I got stuck, I didn't have that answer. Why I was holding myself. Is that I need a coach? I need somebody to validate my thought process, somebody to say, yes, Sanjeev, go. do I need a cheerleader for myself? So these are the questions which I never thought in the past, but it forced me yesterday night that why it took so much of time. Of course, seeing the result, I was expecting that yes, I'll get maybe 160, 60%, not 70%, got 84%. So self-doubt does come in the life.
Well,
For me,
congratulations.
I'm saying, I'm
Yeah,
not talking about others by the way.
yeah.
Maybe
No,
others
no.
are much more forceful, much more ahead, much more charged up, much more formed themselves, whatever it may be. But for me, it happened.
Congratulations on still being human, Sanjeev. Really good to hear that. I'm just so pleased to hear that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I was the last one from your batch who just qualified. Others have definitely got it done.
And I
I
know
have not
you.
yet told them, but once the accreditation comes, I'll tell them.
You're a great coach. And a credentialed and a certified coach. So hip hip hooray for you. And does a coach need a coach? Yeah, because I'm still human. I still get stuck. I still have messages going through and say, okay, so I'm afraid of this. I'm afraid of failing. I'm afraid of, what people are going to say, blah, blah, blah. That still goes on in my head. And I do have a coach. I live with a coach. So I have a built-in coach, if you will. And we have coach-like conversations. I'm not sure every day would be accurate, but certainly 4 times a week, at least, maybe more. So that number one, yeah, have a coach. And the second thing in terms of procrastinating or getting stuck, I think that's part of the human experience. I just do. I get stuck sometimes, like, okay, so should I upgrade my video? Someone's talking to me now about changing my mic system out here so it's less obtrusive in the picture. So just practical things and some personal things. So congratulations for passing it so brilliantly. Not a surprise to me personally that you did that, because you're a great coach and you've had great training. I know. I'll claim that for both of us. And I think the other thing in terms of, again, okay, so here's a little life lesson here at the end for Sanjeev, but I think applies to everybody, including myself. Don't be so hard on myself. Don't be so hard. I think that I am the harshest critic of me. And that's been the case probably most of my life. Now, it may come out in the sound of my dad's voice or my mom's voice or professor's voice that I have resonating back here in the neurons. But the truth is that I'm the one that's triggering it. It's not automatic where, just because I get up in the morning, then that particular recording gets played. It gets triggered and I have control over that trigger. I believe I do have that control. And so if I'm not so hard at chastising myself or criticizing myself or judging myself, what could I do to replace that? Well, as you know, Coach for Life, we talk about what do you want to acknowledge on the positive side of life? Positive side of life on that particular one is, okay, I recognize it going on in my head right now. I can replace that with, I no longer need to have that replay. And congratulations for catching it, doing something about it, taking action to, in your case, take the test, right? CKA, Coach Knowledge Assessment Test. Do it online, spend a couple of hours doing that and passing it brilliantly. Hip, hip, hooray. Congratulations, Sanjeev. Thank you very much. Now those are the kinds of decisions that are up to me. I'm still a human being. I still go into those levels of judgment, self-judgment, self-critique. But like an athlete, the athlete isn't, okay, so how do I not have my heart rate go up to 130? Because they know that's going to get up to 130 when they're running a race or playing football or rugby or whatever, right? Cricket. The question for the athlete is, how fast is your recovery rate? How long does it take you to get back down to 65, 70 beats per minute? The same thing with us as coaches and human beings. Have I noticed? How fast did I notice? How fast can I switch it over to something that's more generative for me and my life? And frankly, my health, my physical health is impacted by this. And congratulate myself. Wow. You know, on balance, Peter, that was a hell of a good day. Good job. Keep up the good
And
work.
thank you, Peter, for that, because yes, the last night when I finished at 10:30 night, and then got the results. I had, of course, the adrenaline going up because of the results. Had a good night sleep, and already thought of what all I had kept on hold for a month, like my writing on LinkedIn, my videos on leadership coaching series, which I started on the
Nice.
YouTube also. So
Nice.
now, of course, everything was on hold, and I mean, maybe I said, yeah, it's time to start. And of course, my first video, the second series of the video is getting now lined up and everything. I'm going to record it tomorrow and something like that. So of course I'll speed up when you say that, okay, this is your score, is fine. So I was holding for a month is fine, but now what? So I have to pace up whatever I was kept on hold. But this question came actually that when everything is fine, why I got stuck. Of course, I said I could have given it about a month back. I didn't do anything extra, but I was holding and preparing more and more and more with the mind that I'm not going to lose it at any cost. So that's what might be the reason. But believe me, I enjoyed the test. Still maybe 25 questions not is wrongly answered. So I don't know where I get those questions and answers. I really don't know. But maybe there's a journey where it'll keep on teaching me. I hope so.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you just touched on the last one I'll talk about for today, and we'll wrap it up is, forget about perfection. Or you can adopt my saying is, I am perfectly imperfect. Thank you very much. On that note, I will.
Yeah, that's a great sentence, because that keeps me going, and that's what keeps me discovering everything new in the life.
Exactly. With that, we're at the top of the
Thank
hour
you.
for me. Thank you for coming by, hanging out. Great to see old friends and current friends. Have a great week. And just as a quick reminder, be yourself. You'll never go wrong being your authentic self. See you next week.
Thanks, Peter. Bye-bye. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Good day. Bye-bye.